Let It Shine, the TV show on the BBC, was definitely like a happy accident. As soon as we won it, you're in such kind of like a buzz. Becoming part of a boy band, like I say, wasn't in the plan.
Will was in Let It Shine in January 2017, where he won. Being that young,
Yeah,
you must be now thinking the next steps. Being that young,
yeah.
you must be now thinking the next steps. Hello and welcome to the Anmol Lakhani show. Now, as you can tell, it's very early in the morning, but we are fully ready for this interview.
We are. Yeah.
Will here from The Voice UK. Hello.
How we doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm not a morning person.
I think every now and again it's all right to have a good lie-in. I'm used
Yeah.
to getting up round about 7 o'clock most days, so I'm always tired by midday.
Oh gosh, how do you do it?
I don't know because I'm caffeine free as well, so I really don't know. Sure, will and determination, I'll put it down to.
Do you know what? I'm a caffeine free as well. In fact, I don't drink it because I got a heart condition. So
Yeah,
that it's just bad for you. It causes more anxiety as well, which I find.
absolutely, it does cause more anxiety. Yeah, that's why I got rid of it as well.
Exactly. That is the same for me. Yeah, like we're literally the same person. Oh my God, it's so weird. So, first question. What was growing up like for you?
My childhood was very, very normal in the respect that I'm from a council estate. I'm from a really big family. I've got four brothers and one sister. We went to a normal public school. So very, very kind of humble beginnings, really, as in we had to share a lot of things because there was a lot of siblings. I wouldn't say we were super poor, but we were definitely like on the breadline for most of, my childhood. So yeah, that allowed me to like appreciate lots of different things, and it also made me work really hard in terms of school and my education, and especially when it came to music, that it wasn't possible to be able to afford to pay for tuition or anything like that. So that kind of drove me to being self-taught on piano and self-taught in music and production and all of these things. Because you've got to do what you've got to do. I'd say very, very normal, average upbringing. I'd go on school buses, and sometimes the school buses would get bricked. The area that I grew up in was very, very kind of chavvy and sometimes unsafe. So yeah, super, super normal upbringing for me.
And more school like for you?
School was great. I loved going to school. I used to get there at like 6 a.m. so that I could spend time before school started in the practice rooms, rehearsing and learning piano. And yeah, I used to love taking part in like the school shows. We used to have productions and things, like Joseph and Oliver and those sort of things. And we had a really, really great music department. And my music teacher, Andy Renshaw, who literally has been a massive inspiration to me in my career. So school was really important for me, I think, in terms of having that outlet of being like, yeah, I can still achieve great things.
So let's move on to the band now. For people who don't know, Quill was in Let It Shine in January 2017, where he won the show with the band 5 to 5.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I knew him from. But I would like to know, how did your audition go for the band, and what inspired you to do the show?
So, being part of the Let It Shine, the TV show on the BBC, was definitely like a happy accident because I never envisaged being in a boy band and certainly not in a touring musical. I thought I had no chance at all winning it because I just wasn't musical theatre-esque. So I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to try and meet one of my idols, i.e. Gary Barlow. So yeah, I ended up going for it for that reason and not to be like, oh yeah, I want to be in a musical. So I entered it and sung one of my favorite songs, and going through the experience to begin with, i.e. the audition, it was really nerve-wracking and scary because you're putting yourself out there in the public domain, and that doesn't always invite nice people. But it was from a BBC and a talent show perspective, it was such a great experience. We were really looked after, and had such a buzz after doing my first audition because I got some really nice feedback from the judges. And yeah, it was a great experience and a memory that I get to keep forever.
I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but I'll put it in the link after this podcast anyway. Do you remember the song that you sang for the audition?
I do, yeah, I do. It was "Put Your Records On" by Corinne Bailey Rae. I've posted it on my Instagram as well, so you'll be able to find it on there. There's a video of my audition because you're right, it's not accessible because it's been quite a while, but I managed to find it and stick it on my socials. And yeah, I chose that song because I really, and Corinne Bailey Rae is a Leeds lass, and the song and the lyrics are really meaningful and personal to me and very soulful. So I felt that was the best demonstration of who I am as a performer.
I didn't know that. I always thought that Corinne Bailey Rae was American. I didn't know she was Leeds.
It's interesting to say that. It's because she does do the majority of her like artistry in America now. She does live in America, I think, now, and she's definitely gone more towards that kind of alternate route. But yeah, she definitely still does gigs here and things like that.
Oh, cool. How did you react when you became a part of the boy band? I can imagine, you know, being at such a young age, you must have been so shocked and, you know, wondering what's going to happen now, what's going to go next.
It is that not knowing and that anticipation of what could happen. That's like the biggest anxiety builder ever. Becoming part of a boy band, like I say, wasn't in the plan, but I did really enjoy it because the guys I was with, AJ, Nick, Yazdan, and Sario, were so cool, and we bonded together through all the live weeks of the Let It Shine. That by the time we became a band, it was like this unique experience that only us guys had. And it was a real bonding moment. And yeah, it was a lot of fun as well. It was a lot of fun. It was nice having other guys to rely on, especially when things got tough as well.
Your face when you won was an absolute picture. I remember watching it. I want to know, how did it feel when you won? Because obviously, you know, being that young,
Yeah.
You must be now thinking the next steps.
I'm trying to think how old I was. I think I was like 23 or 22 or 23. I never, like I said, and I never thought it was possible to win. So it was such a bizarre, especially from my walk of life, it's not the ordinary thing to happen. So when something extraordinary does happen like that, it really, really gets to you. And because we all really wanted it as well, for very different reasons, I really, really wanted it as kind of an accomplishment thing and an opening doors as a writer. As soon as we won it, you're in such kind of like a buzz about it, but then in the back of your mind, you're like, right, what happens next? How does this change things? And it did change things, you know, for weeks and weeks after that. I was always being stopped in supermarkets and town centres, and you know, social media's got super busy and all of that sort of stuff. So it is quite a drastic thing to happen. But yeah, in that moment, I was very kind of apprehensive of, oh, I don't know what this means. But I was very happy as well.
Did Take That obviously come and congratulate you afterwards? Did they talk about, you know, the theatre show, the band?
They did. So once we'd won it, we actually the very next day flew to Cannes to meet Gary in like some presidential suite because we had to perform over there. It was for some sort of like festival or something. I think it was an idea to do
the Cannes Festival.
Yes, something similar to doing something like Let It Shine somewhere else in the world. So we went over as the fresh-faced winners, performed a song or two with Gary, etc. Gary performed as well, and it was just amazing. So literally from day one, it was like, whoa, you know, we're doing something crazy.
I just want to ask you, did you watch all the other BBC shows, like the Joseph one? I did,
yeah, I did watch them, yeah, because we also had Graham Norton hosted them, and Graham Norton hosted our show as well, and I really loved them. I liked the I always liked the BBC talent shows because they very, very against kind of taking the mick out of people. So it was always like a professional standard. You know, like if you look and Let It Shine, there's not any joke acts that the coaches ridiculed. There was some acts that didn't fit the standard mold of a boy band, but even a large variety of them got through to the next stage and got the opportunity to perform with all the celebrities. I think the BBC shows are quite special when they do talent shows because they seem to take care of the contestants more.
I mean, Let It Shine has opened a massive pathway for lots of people. For example, Bradley Johnson, who plays Benny on Emmerdale. He was on the show, and I'm sure you keep in touch with him.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do, because he's a local lad. And Danny Colligan as well is doing really well, who was in the tour of Les Mis.
And isn't that Jersey Boys as well?
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's lots and lots of talented people who have come from that show who have done things with it. Clinton Elvis, who is currently in a touring show, and he's always doing amazing things. So yeah, and I keep in touch with as many of these boys as I can, because I like them all.
So let's move to the mental health side of things now after the show. So obviously, as you were saying, must have got a buzz or when you won it, but then in the back of your mind, you must be thinking, it's going to run out someday.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then I'm going to go back to being normal.
Yeah, I think there's two strong thoughts in your mind after that experience. You've got one thought that's like, oh, there's lots of things happening now. I'm really going to have to concentrate, because we were literally in rehearsals immediately getting ready for this, obviously the touring musical. And there's a lot of self-doubt that creeps in. You're like, can I actually do this? It's going to be like 10 shows a week. It's going to be lots of dancing, all of that. And then the other thought is, yeah, once it's all over, what am I doing with my life? Will I go back in the box, so to speak? And I've spoke about this with a few of my close friends before, is that once you come out of the box in the respect of doing something that's so outlandish, like, going off and doing this with Gary Barlow or filming a TV advert with Robbie Williams and take that, once you start doing all these crazy things, then the idea of not doing them, it's like you've got to step back into this linear way of thinking. And yeah, it can be interesting on the mind for sure.
And reality must hit you like so hard, because like in your thoughts must be, oh, everyone used to know me, but now I'm just not. Now I'm just a normal.
Absolutely, yeah. It all depends on what you are doing it for. So luckily in my case, I didn't have that kind of insecurity or anxiety, because
that's good.
When I entered the show, I really am the opposite of looking for fame. I'm not looking for fame. I'm just looking for like success and prestige within my field. So I want to be a successful, prestigious writer and artist, but I don't want the fame and the attention that sometimes comes with that. However, there is a middle point, like Sia, for example, where you have to accept that if you want people to explore your artistry and who you are, they need to have some access to you. So it's always juggling those things. But luckily for me, I never had that fear or worry, because I definitely preferred the anonymity, and I wasn't bothered about fame or anything like that. It's kind of I don't know, it's a dual-edged sword.
And it's so good that you weren't bothered about the fame, because it could have ruined your mental health massively. And I know for some, celebrities, it gets way too much for them. And then, they just go in a downward spiral.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's countless examples, especially obviously we were exposed to an opportunity that was, controlled in many ways along the way. And it never quite went to, for example, like a One Direction level. And we've recently seen the results of how that can affect people's mental health and all of that, especially with Liam Payne. So yeah, it's something that fame isn't, I don't think, I think there's quite a small percentage of people that seek fame actively because they don't truly understand what fame is. And it's lots of different things, it can just be quite intrusive on your actual real life, and people start seeing you as something else, or their expectations of who you are rather than who you actually are, which is, important.
So maybe you were kind of like blessed in this way, I guess.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I tried to, especially along the way, I loved the fans and the people who supported the show and the people that still support me. And I'm very loyal to those guys. But in regards to worrying about, I am absolutely over the moon that I've been back on social media for like 3 months, and I've almost got like 18,000 people on my page. That's amazing to me. Do I think, now I want 150,000? No, I just don't care in that way. Anything is a bonus for me. As long as I've got people engaging in what I do, that's kind of the priority for me.
And as long as people like your music, that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about going on tour with Take That now. What was your favourite city to perform in?
For me, it was Edinburgh, because one, I love Scotland. Two, it was the biggest. We did the Playhouse, which is like a massive capacity. And it was such a great culture. The shows were really, really excitable from the audience. They gave a lot back. So I've got really fond memories of being in Scotland doing the band, because it was just absolutely amazing. And obviously Take That joined us and did some surprise shows. And a lot of we've got some amazing photos where we're looking out into the audience and you can see everyone with their phones, and that was done at the Edinburgh Playhouse. So yeah, I definitely say that is the highlight for me.
I know you've got one favourite member already, but if you could, who was your favourite member of Take That and why at the time?
So I do have two favourite members to Take That. Gary, obviously, because when I was young, he was the album I listened to in my bedroom and the posters, and he was the most artist that I followed through lots of different things, like Britannia High, which was like a precursor to Glee, which
CBBC.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Gary Barlow and Mark Owen, his team, were behind a lot of the good songs in that. So yeah, well, there you go. And Gary Barlow, another thing is he was involved as a writer in lots of different projects, like Matt Cardle, he did a song with him, and all of these things. So for me, he's like the definitive idol of my childhood. But I also have a massive love of Mark Owen, because his solo records outside to Take That really, really are in my vein of writing and lyrics and the meaning of his songs. So I've always been a massive Mark fanboy. I've been to see his solo shows. I can sing every single one of his solo records. So yeah, my love of Gary and Mark is definitely how Mark in terms of being an artist and Gary in terms of being a writer and a successful person in his field, and also having the tenacity to never give up, because he's had success and then the quiet period and then came back, and that that inspirational story from him has fueled me, I guess, from being young.
We're massive Take That fans in this household as well, so absolutely love them.
Yeah, they are amazing, and they're masters at reinvention and evolution. They are currently on tour across the world right now, just gone from Melbourne and all sorts of places, doing sold out shows, massive arena shows, because they've got this thing which is just quality. The music's quality, the shows are quality. So yeah, I think they will always be successful.
Can I just say, why did the band never come to the West End? I was so looking forward to seeing them there.
You know what? It came to the West End on like a seasonal basis. So we did it over Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, we did. We did, I think, like a month and a half on the West End. And at the same time, we also did the Elton John AIDS Gala in the Royal Theatre Haymarket. But yeah, it was a long time. We did a big lump of touring, then did the West End, then went back out touring. So it gets very wishy-washy memory-wise, because it was a long time touring. But yeah, we did do the West End, and it was amazing. And yeah, I can forever say that I performed on the West End. So another great memory.
Have you seen the band, the movie?
I have seen the band, the movie, Greatest Stage, and I've also seen the reinvention of our musical, The Band, which became The Greatest Days. I have seen both, yeah.
I'm surprised you guys were never asked on it.
Yeah, well, it just depends really, because when you adapt things for TV or whatever, you have to decide what the priority is. And I think the priority from a film point of view was giving the story its own breathing space that wasn't attached to anything else. And obviously the story is the same, which is kind of paying homage to us. But yeah, it would have been lovely to do something like that. But I just don't think they maybe had the time or the budget or whatever.
Okay, so moving on to something completely different now. Sorry if everyone can see the flashing that's coming from my phone. So as I was saying, let's move on to something completely different now and talk about The Voice UK, which you decided to take a leap earlier this year. Yeah. How did you audition? Because I know people get either approached or they apply.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a quick little lowdown. Obviously, after all of the band and the touring and everything like that, I took a big chunk of time away from the industry to realign with myself and what I wanted. And
That's good.
very much on writing and composing, which was always my favorite thing about music. And I also started a family and adopted a little boy, and that took a lot of my time, because when you adopt a little boy, you've got the whole application process, and then when a child joins your family, you need to not work for like 9 months. So that took a big chunk of time. Then as my child got a bit older, he's almost 5 now, and I was thinking, right, I want to do music, but I want to be an artist, but I also want to detach myself from everything I've done before. And that's when I decided that the best way to do that was creating a character and an artist alias, which is called Quill. And it's very commonplace. Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, who else have we got? Elton John, etc. All of these people use stage names, which gives them kind of that alter ego, I guess. Rihanna, there we go, there's another one. Lots and lots of artists use stage names. So I thought, right, if I'm going to start again, I'll have a stage name. And then I put some shows together, put a storytelling show together, and started touring it in the UK. Did a show in London, and someone approached me about doing The Voice, kind of scouted. And I immediately did say no, because I was like, I don't want to do that again. But then I thought about it some more, and I was like, actually, if I want to reestablish myself in a different way, this may be the only chance I get again now that I'm much older to showcase myself in a very different way. So I said yes and went over to the studios to begin with in Manchester. And then when we decided on this song I would sing audition wise, I went with a song that really meant a lot to me and meant a lot to the people that I know. And it was called Don't Give Up by Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush, because it was such a beautiful storytelling song. And some of the lyrics in that song that I sung was, I've changed my face, I've changed my name, but no one wants you when you lose. And that's how I felt in those years in the interim of like, this is it now. That was it for me. The Let It Shine, the band, meeting Gary, that's as good as it's going to get. And I should be proud of that, but I don't think I'll get any further than that. And then obviously when I did The Voice, I was like, this is my chance to send a message to other performers that actually you can always start again. You can always reinvent yourself if you have the belief and the confidence, and you don't give in to fear, that you can go again. And I had very different motivations this time round. Like I wanted my little boy to see me on TV. I wanted my friends and family who I hadn't spoke to in a while to know that I haven't given up on this idea of being an artist. And more than anything, it was a kind of a protest of reestablishing who I am, and also not forgetting the past. I want to embrace the past. So when I auditioned, I actually had a take that emblem around my neck so that any fans watching could see that I still was paying homage to who I was. And yeah, so that's kind of the decision to go on The Voice and why I chose that song. And it was a turning point for me again, because it's just something I never thought I'd have a chance to do twice.
Can I just jump in there and say, I thought you didn't mention the band, and now I realize why. It's because of the emblem, and
Yes,
that made loads of sense. Because when I saw a post from The Voice, and I was like, I recognize this guy. I recognize this guy. I know who he is.
Yeah, I had a lot of people pop up saying, "Oh, it's you. Is this the guy from TV, etc." And I also, one of the reasons why I made it very clear to the people on The Voice who decide what goes into the story, I was very insistent that my identity was about me singing and performing and not about what I'd done previously, because it can be very easy to get lost in other stuff, and especially if you're doing a rival show on a different channel, it may not be the best decision to immediately say, oh, here's this guy who won this show, etc., etc., because it doesn't look good for the show, and it definitely doesn't look good for me, because you will get lots of people at home being like, well, he's had a chance at doing this, so why is he doing this? Or you might have someone who's like, well, he won that show, so he definitely shouldn't win this show. So it doesn't give everyone a fair shot. So it was a good decision to kind of minimalistically touch upon it until after the show was over, and then I could say to people, here I am. This is why I decided to be Quill. I love and respect my past and all of these things. Here it all is coming back at you, but this is who I am now. Join the journey. In the same respect as Take That has gone from 5 to 4 to 5 to 4 to 3.
It's so confusing.
It's confusing, but it's this constant evolution that allows you to be like, right, this is a different era of that same thing. They are
Yeah.
still the same guys that you grew up with. It's just a different era. And that's kind of my message to my fans, is that this is my next era.
So are you still going by Curtis, like
Yeah,
friends and family?
yeah, friends and family, like, you know, if I'm in my household, people call me Curtis, but professionally, anyone career-wise refers to me as Quill, which is amazing. And all my band know me as Quill, and the people, one of the interesting things I found when I first became Quill and started working in other countries is that people just judged my work as work. They didn't go looking and digging for what I'd done in the past, because there wasn't anything. It was just Quill. There was nothing that existed. And I found that my work opportunities drastically improved when I went under the pseudonym of Quill. So yeah, it was a good move.
And you know, well done for doing that, because that's very brave. I can imagine, you know, a lot of solo artists who just go by another name, not their real name.
Yeah.
It's a brave thing to do, because people only know them by their first name. As
Yeah.
you mentioned, Rihanna, Cher, but
This
they've
is
gone
it,
by
this is
their
it.
stage name and they've grown so big.
Yeah, it can happen, and it's about, sometimes it's about your reason for doing it. For me, it's really clear. I wanted to be Quill because that is who I am when I go on stage. I am more comfortable being Quill as an artist than I am being myself as an artist. And it works better for me because I come home and I can take that Quill hat off and I can sit with my son and read a book and come back to the normal world. You know, like in a week's time, I'll be performing at Twickenham to 80,000 people. I'll be
Oh
live on
God.
TV, and I'll be performing as Quill. And that will be absolutely insane. I'll be singing God Save the King and all of that sort of stuff. And then the day after, I will come home and I won't be Quill anymore. I'll be feeding my son a yogurt.
So after you did your audition, which is what my next question was going to be, do you remember the day of your audition?
I do. I do. So it was a very long day because I turned up very early and I didn't actually go onto the stage until about 10:30 at night or something. So it was a really long day waiting for my audition. And obviously you go through the motions, your nerves go up and then you relax, and your nerves go up and then you relax. So by the time I got to my audition, I was absolutely knackered, but buzzing and full of adrenaline to
Can I
do.
just jump in quick?
Oscar.
What do you do all that time waiting, I guess?
Well, you've got lots of things to do as part of the show, like little press things, little interviews, and you know, moments that they use on TV. You got to warm up. You got a little practice in the day. So there is stuff. You talk to other contestants and things like that. But yeah, there was a lot to think about, and definitely for me on the day, I was like, have I made the right move here? Doing this again? Will people interpret it properly, or will it look like a desperate attempt at fame or whatever? So there was lots of things running through my mind, but the main thing running through my mind was, you know, trying to get someone to turn, I guess.
And that's where you got Tom Jones. Or
Yes, Tom Jones.
sorry,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
forgot to add
Yes,
Sir
Tom Jones.
Tom
Yeah.
Jones. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what was the reason behind choosing him?
So I really wanted Sir Tom Jones because I again have listened to all of his records, especially all the ones no one knows about. So I'm a big fan anyway of the fact that he has such an identifiable voice and tone, and he's lasted era after era. So I'm like, yeah, that's the sort of performance I want to be performing in my 80s the way he is. So yeah, and also part of my song choice, the Peter Gabriel, Kate Bush, I thought of all the people on this coaching panel who would know this song, it would be Sir Tom.
How old were you when you auditioned for The Voice?
When I started the process, I was 30.
Oh, wow. So that's quite a gap from Let It Shine
It is, yeah,
to
7, 8
The
years.
Voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And let's go on to the thing in Liverpool, the callbacks,
Yeah.
where obviously, you know, you had 10 other finalists for you in Sir Tom, and Tom had Hannah Waddingham.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think you remember, I commented back and said your voice was literally incredible. And I was like, if this guy does not get picked, then there's something wrong with him. But seriously, your voice was incredible.
Thank
And I
you.
think Hannah said the same thing.
Yeah, I got some amazing feedback from the guys on the day.
So what was the callbacks process like? And being with
Callback
other
process
10
was pretty wild, as in, because again, it was the stakes were higher. But for me, it was extra concentration because I wasn't just singing; I was also playing piano, and I was really excited about that because I got to show that as a skill. And
Yeah.
yeah, Waddingham, massively respect her. So yeah, it was very exciting. And again, the not knowing who was going through the other 9 performers were incredible, and I know them all personally. So there's that thing of, yep, I want to go through, but then there's also the thing of, well, there's too many talented people here, so some talented people have to go home. So yeah, it was mixed emotions.
What was the song you chose? I can't remember.
So in that stage, we got given a song. We didn't get to choose it, so we got given
Oh,
"To Be Young" by Miley Cyrus, and you got split up into groups, and each group got a different song. I think one of the groups got "Every Time" by Britney Spears, which I would have loved that song, and we got "Used to Be Young." So yeah, I just tried to sit at the piano and feel my way through it and tell a story, I guess, of, for me personally, it was a great song because it did, it made me feel old, but it also made me feel like, oh, this is me being able to sing about my experiences here.
and I can imagine when you didn't get through, which I believe was a massive wrong decision, a huge wrong decision,
Yeah.
in my eyes. But how did you feel? It's like, it must have been got. It's like, I won Let It Shine, but then again, I didn't win The Voice, even though
Yeah,
I would have loved to.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me, again, when I entered The Voice, I don't know. I just knew that I wouldn't have a chance at winning, not because there's lots of talented people in the industry who don't make it. That happens all the time. But I just knew that maybe because of the fact I'd already won a TV show and stuff, the chances of me winning another TV show on a rival network were very, very slim. And also, from a show's point of view, my story and the point of me entering that show was kind of complete at that point. So there's definitely younger, less experienced performers who deserved that opportunity to, go further. So I wasn't disappointed. I was super, super proud of where I got to. And more importantly, I left on such a high because the coaches gave me outstanding feedback. Hannah Waddingham loved it. So there was this real kind of feeling for me that I'd done my best. They said it was great. I just wasn't the right fit for that, for whatever they wanted to take through to these semi-finals. So no, from that perspective, I definitely felt that this was like a new beginning for me, and this would allow me, because obviously, as you know, these shows get filmed quite far in advance.
Yeah.
This would give me time to process my participation in the show and plan around it and market myself around it.
When was the callbacks filmed?
Oh God. I want to say, maybe I might get told off for this, I don't know. I want to say around about May time, maybe. I
Okay,
think.
so I'd
Uh,
say not 3 months ago, 6 to 8 months ago.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the stuff previous to that was before Christmas, I believe. So, um, yeah, it takes a long time to get through these different stages. So for me, I had like dealt with it, moved on emotionally from it by, say, August, and then I think it aired, didn't it, in like the first week of September or something. I think that's when my audition aired. I think my audition aired on the 7th of September because my birthday is the 8th. And weird things always happen around my birthday because when we won the Let Shine show, the opening night in Manchester was the 8th of September as
Oh,
well.
wow.
So it
So
always
double
happens.
surprise.
Yeah, my birthday always ends up being a fun time for me. So yeah, I had plenty of time to process and deal with it, and then plan how I was going to use the opportunity to grow as an artist, I guess.
And do you have any advice for anyone who's looking to enter The Voice, or maybe is like, done The Voice or is looking to do another dance show?
Yeah, my advice would be do as many of these things as you can, but not with the expectation of winning. Use them to build your CV, because the reality is that talent shows have a disconnect now with the general public. Like most people on our show, because I monitored them all, most people who took part barely got between 200 and 500 followers. So do not enter a talent show if you want to be famous and you want to get hundreds of thousands of followers, because they do not achieve that anymore. Enter a talent show if you want an opportunity to be filmed and recorded at a very high standard that you can then use to showcase yourself to get work. That's a great thing. also enter a talent show if you've got a personal connection to someone in it, or a judge or a coach, because you may never get those opportunities again to go out there and do crazy things.
What song would you have chosen for A, the semi-final, and B, the final?
I would have chosen Spaceman by Sam Ryder for the semi-final, because
That would have suited your voice perfectly, I think.
yeah, it was a really good song as well. And my very first audition, I auditioned with that, and I was like, yeah, this would be really cool. And then final wise, I either would have done something like Tattoo or Too Much Love Will Kill You by Queen, something really emotionally storytelling.
Yeah, because like the more emotional storytelling, the more votes you would obviously
This is it,
get.
yeah, this is it.
And
And
that's
I'm all
what,
about telling stories in the lyrics. That's what it's about for me.
and that's the whole point of singing and songwriting.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So finally, moving on to fatherhood and relationships now. So how did you meet your husband? Because I saw a little bit on The Voice, but they
Yeah.
didn't show the full story. So I think
Yeah,
that comes from you.
yeah, no one ever shows the full story. I'll paraphrase for you. We met through music a long time ago. We both have a mutual love of Elvis. And I also worked at the rugby club, and he was a coach at the rugby club. So there was that connection as well. So yeah, and that was a very long time ago.
Oh, so probably before The Voice or after The Voice?
Oh yeah, long before The Voice, long before The Voice, and long before Late Shine as well. I
Oh,
think there is videos on, obviously when they did the VT and Late Shine and stuff, he did also do a VT thing for that. So he found it very funny that obviously for The Voice he also had to do a VT.
I'm sure he didn't mind.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he didn't mind at the time, to be fair.
And how's fatherhood for you? Because you're a father now, and
Yeah,
it must be strange, but
it
a
is.
good feeling.
It's really, I've been a dad for over 4 years now, and he's almost 5. And yeah, it's a shift of priorities, and it's a shift of perspectives of what matters and what doesn't matter. I remember being very young and being bothered about if a fallback monitor wasn't working or something like that. And now those sort of things just do not bother me. I'm more bothered about if he's eating properly, or if he falls over or whatever. So it really does shift your emotional maturity, because suddenly life isn't just about you. It's about this little fragile creature who is going to be the next era of your life moving forward. And that was an amazing thing to have during The Voice, because it really grounded me in terms of what I was doing it all for, which is why as well, when I got eliminated from the show, I wasn't really upset, because you go home and life resumes, and you've got this thing that really matters, and he doesn't care whether I won or not. He will treat me the same as he always has done. And it was a beautiful to watch him watching the show when it aired, and just seeing it. And I get to keep that forever.
So I'm guessing you didn't come to the audition? Or...
No, he didn't come. He was involved in like the VT footage, but I'm obviously, this is where my kind of luck comes in from doing the Late Shine stuff. Is I had the experience of how TV shows are put together, so I just knew that it wouldn't be a good environment for him because of the hustle.
Yeah, of course.
And I ended up going on at 10:30 at night, so he would have had to wait that whole day. So yeah, we stayed clear of that, and he just got to watch it on TV.
And I do hope you take some time out for yourself as well. Like,
yeah, definitely every now and again. It's a really busy November, and then there's a few gigs at the start of December, but then December Christmas period is kind of family time, a little bit of time for me, just to think and refuel and get ready for the next year, I guess.
You got any plans for Christmas with him?
We're going to go and see a few Santas. We're going to go to Stockhell Park. They do like a big Christmas enchanted forest display, which is gorgeous. Things like that, really. Lots of Christmas themed stuff. A bit of crafts. We'll be putting up the trees soon, which he loves. So everything in it, anything, basically.
Oh, that's so good. Curtis, as always, thank you for joining me for this interview.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.